Jeff. This may look like a little bit of a strange view for a segment called "Walk with Me," but a little bit different. A little bit different this morning. Every morning, I walk over to the coffee shop, get my espresso, and I invite my subscribers to walk with me so that we can talk about some sort of mindfulness, some sort of mindset theme, usually focused on growth, so that we can talk about that as we walk through the park. I live in, I think, a really beautiful historic neighborhood in Indianapolis. Got it's a great walkable neighborhood, great parks, great streets. Today, hey, it's Christmas Eve. I need to get some errands run here early. So I'm going to drive over here and park, and then we'll walk. So it's a little bit of a hybrid today. For a little bit of background, I host a show every morning for a private community. The show's called Java with Jeff. It started out being our morning mindset call, and one of the regular audience members pretty quickly named it Java with Jeff, and that name stuck. So it's Java with Jeff. But it is focused specifically on growth, the mindsets that we need. Sorry, really bumpy. The mindsets that we need to grow for ourselves personally, for our relationships, and professionally, whether that's as a business owner, as an employee, entrepreneur, whatever it is. And I decided to start this segment on Substack to broaden that audience, because the things that we talk about there, that's for a private community of architects, entrepreneurial architects. But the things that we talk about are not architecture at all, right? It has nothing to do with architecture or being an architect. It certainly applies. Well, that's no good. It's blocking the street. So I decided to start doing this on Substack to broaden that audience, and also because I wanted to learn more about Substack. I wanted to build something here. So this is a natural motion for me, is to do these live streams, these live conversations, and I really do like for these conversations to be two-way, as engaging as possible, but not just me preaching, so to speak, or just some talking head, although I know the format really sets itself up that way. You can say hi when you get here. Say hi. Let me know that you're here. Let me know where you are. Where are you joining this conversation from? Let's have a conversation. And the reason I talk about Java with Jeff is that many of these conversations will be an extension of a continuation, maybe, of Java with Jeff segment, sort of Java with Jeff show, the things we talked about there. So the park right here. Here, a little parking on a circle. Ever done that before? So let's walk. The thing that we talked about today, the question I started out with today, is a question of what are you, this holiday season, whatever holidays you observe, whatever holidays you celebrate, you probably, maybe this is a bit of an assumption, but you probably do a lot of giving. You probably give gifts. You probably give time. Maybe you volunteer. Maybe you donate. But my guess is that you give, and you probably, give quite a bit of your time, of yourself, of your resources. Question is, what are you giving to yourself? One of the most powerful, maybe most necessary mindsets that we need to develop is the mindset of putting ourselves first. Now, that may sound strange to you. You may hear me say that and go, oh my gosh, it sounds terrible. It sounds really selfish. Why would I put myself first? I've been raised to be humble. I've been raised to be giving, and so on and so forth. And yeah, me too. And that's why I want to talk about this, because I think this, if you hear somebody say that, hear somebody talking about putting themselves first, you may immediately recoil from that. And let me tell you why we need to be able to change that mindset. I am not traveling a ton right now. In what years was this? 2000, probably 2016, 2000 through 2018. I was on the speaking circuit, speaking at 20 to 30 events a year. I think that was about 100 flights a year. In order to do that, I forget now, I had a running list at one point of all the different airports that I flew in and out of, and so on and so forth. It's a lot of busy travel time, a lot of time on airplanes. But if you've taken one flight in the past year or 2 years, however long it's been since you traveled at all, there's one thing that I know you've heard. You have heard the safety announcements. They're required by the FAA, and I guess I'm assuming that you're joining this conversation from somewhere inside the United States, or at least familiar traveling in the United States, because the FAA has required travel announcements that all the airlines make. You get on, and whether it's a recording, a video, one of the flight attendants is doing it live, but somebody's going to tell you what to do in a case of emergency, and so on and so forth. What's one of the things that they say? One of the things that they talk about is if there's a sudden loss in cabin pressure, oxygen mask will fall from the ceiling, and you need to put yours on first before you try to help anyone else. And they talk about the bag, even though the bag may not inflate, the air will be flowing, blah, blah, blah. The important part is you need to put yours on before you try to help anybody else. That's a great life lesson. The life lesson there is, you put your oxygen mask on, because if you run out of oxygen, if you're incapacitated, you're no good to anyone, including yourself. So in this season of giving, the season where we spend so much, and spend is, we're talking about resources, and resources are time. Resources are effort, energy, emotion, certainly money. But in this season where we spend so much, we're no good to anyone else. If we eventually we can become no good to anyone else if we don't take care of ourselves. Morning, Scott. Scott's joining us from San Francisco today. Says my internet connection is unstable. Well, hopefully we stay connected here. So in this season of giving, just like when you're flying, just like when the flight attendant tells you need to put your mask on first, take care of yourself. My question for you today is, what are you giving yourself? What are you doing to feed yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? What are you doing to make sure that you're okay? You probably are going here, there, and everywhere depending on your location, your family situation, et cetera, you're probably just giving of time and effort, space to others, your kids, your significant other, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbors, your community, your faith community, whatever it is that you're, wherever you have connections, you're probably giving. How much more could you give if you took care of yourself, if you gave to yourself? I teach professional practice to architecture students, undergraduate and graduate architecture students, two different classes. This past semester was undergrad, next semester is graduate. And one of the things that I will tell those students, if we want to look at this through the lens of business or profession, one of the things that I always tell the students is that they have an obligation. If they're going to start a firm, if they're going to be a partner in the firm, a leader in a firm, even an employee in a firm, they have an obligation to build, to run a profitable firm. People will hear that, just like what I was talking about before. I was raised to be humble. I was raised to be giving, all those things. Sure, a lot of us have these mindsets where we can't take care of ourselves or we can't put ourselves first because we have to take care of everybody else. And we miss that point, right? We miss the idea of putting our oxygen mask on first, because if we're incapacitated, we're no good to anybody else. We miss that. And in the same vein, we sort of recoil at the idea of, oh my gosh, she's saying we have to be profitable. Sometimes we hear profit as being this evil thing, especially now in this global society that we're in. We've got all these billionaires and these billionaire or trillionaire corporations. And yeah, I mean, the way that profit is wielded and extracted may be an evil thing. Hi, Nicole. Good morning. Nicole's joining us from Arizona. So we've got Scott in San Francisco and Nicole from Phoenix area. Glad you're here this morning. So in this day and age, in this global society that we're in, profit can be taken and wielded in a very, in my opinion, in a very evil way. But it's not inherently evil. And so when I tell students that they have an obligation, once they get into the profession, when they have an obligation to build and run a profitable firm, right? That's similar, that's the business version maybe of putting the oxygen mask on first, your oxygen mask on first. The reason I tell them that is because they may have employees, and those employees depend on the sustainability of that firm. They may have a family, and their family depends on the sustainability, the viability of that firm. They may have collaborators or consultants that depend on the success of that firm. They may have clients. They certainly are going to have clients, right? And the clients depend on that firm still being around during their project, the completion of the project and beyond. And so, it goes on and on and on and on, right? If you can't build a business that makes more money than it spends, right? That has a positive cash flow day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, et cetera, then it starts to fail. Right? And then all of those people that depend on you for shelter, for food, for their livelihood, then you have failed them. And so that's why I tell students that you have this obligation. And at the end of the day, I don't care what you do with the profit. You could run a business and make $1 million profit in a year. And if you say, "Oh, I don't, I think profit is bad," or whatever money mindset you've attached to profit, if you want to give it away, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's your decision. But the fundamental truth is we have to take care of the business so the business can feed everybody else. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of everybody else. So there's the business case, and Scott and Nicole know this. Their job with Jeff Regulars, I talk about mindsets, and especially growth mindsets through the lens of personal growth, relationship growth, and professional growth. So personal growth is put your oxygen mask on first. Professional growth is make sure that you build a profitable business, whatever that means, whatever your context is there. Within relationship growth, right? If you're not giving to yourself, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not understanding your needs, what brings you joy, what energizes you, the boundaries that you need to protect space or time or peace or whatever, then you can't bring that healthy version of yourself to a relationship. Then if you're not taking care of yourself first, then you can't expect to go in and to be healthy in a relationship. And so we have to take care of ourselves first so that we can give to others. And I guess that was the question. What are you giving yourself? You have to give to yourself first before you can, is that it? I think that was, sorry, lost track of what the actual question was, but you have to give to yourself first before you can give to others. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else. You have to take care of and be healthy for yourself before you can be healthy in a relationship. You have to build a healthy business because everybody else, revolving around that business is counting on it, right? So back to the original question. It's the holiday season. You're probably giving. Question is, what are you giving to yourself? You want a cortado? Okay, I'll get you a cortado. I'll have one espresso macchiato for me and one cortado for you. Merry Christmas. So that's it. I mean, I think that's when I found that today. I was scrolling and I saw some post somewhere, and it just kind of made me think of that. It's in a time of giving, a season of giving. You hear this. You hear the holiday seasons called that a lot, and they are. And we do focus on others, but I don't think we ever, or at least not enough, focus on receiving. Yeah, we're going to get gifts. Again, we've been taught, right? My daughter and I were talking about a family event. The other night we were talking about a family event, and she said she showed up humble. It's, part of a bigger story, obviously, and maybe it's an interesting way to say that, but a lot of us are taught that, right? Hey, when you're, who is it that gives Ralphie the pink bunny suit? What's his? It's Aunt. What's his aunt's name? Oh my gosh, it's like can't believe I don't know that trivia. Christmas Story, Pink Nightmare. Um, who gives Ralphie the pink bunny suit? Right? We've been taught to graciously accept those types of gifts or any types of gifts, and that's great, right? I think we need that. We need more of that in society. I just saw this clip last night of some guy. I mean, this is total tangent, totally unrelated. But I saw this clip of this guy who had been arrested for. It started with drunk driving. It was like drunk driving, evading police, all this whole list of charges. Basically, he's DUI. Everything snowballs from there, right? And the video, the only reason you see this video is because he's in front of two different judges. And, my mom would probably say that this guy has no couth, right? He's like over talking judges. He's disrespectful. He's rude. All of these things that, at least me as a kid, I guess I assume that most people of, around my age were probably taught similarly. I know that's not a universal truth, but we were taught a lot of things, respect and things like that. We need more of that, right? We need, as a society, to come back to humanity and couth. We need to be kind to one another. We need to give to one another. We need to support and understand, stop and listen, hear and understand. We need a lot more of that in our society. And I don't know what's going on with this dude that got arrested, and as I said this yesterday, it is a lot easier for us to lean into the discomfort that is necessary for growth if we have the space, if in the yoga example, if we're able to quiet our mind, right? If our mind is racing and loud, all kinds of things going on in their head, it's hard. But that's a mental aspect, but it makes it hard to lean into the physical aspect. We need to be able to take care of ourselves. We need to be able to support and give to and care for ourselves, give ourselves space, give ourselves grace, give ourselves whatever it is that we need, because it makes it a lot easier to take care of the people that we need to take care of. If I can scroll this. Cole says, we're nervous about Christmas breakfast tomorrow. I get it. Hoping my husband and his sister are able to leave their pride behind. I think they both care about their mom enough to stay civil. That is all I expect. He did say this morning that he knows they need to clear the air. That's the point, but tomorrow's just get in the same room. First step. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. And, it's depending on who could potentially see this, maybe this is TMI, but that's one of the things that I think back to. I'll call it my past. Like Thanksgiving. I might have actually mentioned this around Thanksgiving. It's like I cannot even imagine in this day and age going to family functions that I used to go to, and understanding that there are people that still supports, still have views that I vehemently disagree with, that I don't even understand. If this offends anybody, I'm sorry, but I don't even understand how you can have these views, how you can support these things. I don't get it from a human perspective, from if you don't want to be hypocritical if on and on and on and on. I don't even get it. And then, I was thinking that around Thanksgiving, my kids have to go deal with this, and I don't anymore. It's like that probably ought to be a whole conversation that we have. Which I guess it's too late. It's tomorrow, right? But it's how do we show up for these things? I guess we did a little bit right before Thanksgiving, but it's really difficult. I get it. It puts a lot of people in really difficult situations. So, uh, best of luck and good thoughts, good wishes to you and your husband and family. And everybody have a good Christmas. And I'm here back at the coffee shop. So I'm going to sign off and I'll be back. There might be some surprises over the next several days, but I'll definitely be back. It's Monday the 29th. So thanks for walking with me. Merry Christmas, everybody.